Yo, this is Joey Belladonna from Anthrax, and you're watching Bloodstock Television.
Okay, so we are here with Bloodstock TV, and next up we're having a chat to Satyr from SATYRICON. How you doing, my friend?
I'm okay, thank you.
You're good. So you guys just played the main stage here at Bloodstock just this afternoon, and how did you think that went?
I think it went well. I mean, it's difficult when you do a festival a weekend playing Czech Republic Friday, Austria Saturday, and England Sunday. There's a lot of traveling and very little sleep. As a performing artist, you always want to be the best version of yourself. And today, I guess I felt a little bit of the lack of sleep, a little bit of fatigue.
Yeah.
But SATYRICON is a very determined band, and I try and really make it come across as if I am in no way tired.
Yes, well, that's what you've got to do. That's the thing of the artist. But it's due to your own success that you've got to play all these different dates all over the place. So that's one of the downsides of it, I suppose. We've spoken to some artists since you've been on, and some of the other bands that we've spoken to, and they were really looking forward to you. Because here at Bloodstock we have all genres of metal, and obviously we've got quite a few black metal bands that have been playing this weekend, and they've all been really looking forward to it, and really positive feedback that we've been hearing. So
excellent. I mean, this run that we're on this summer is a little bit of an unusual one for us. In 1996 we released a record called Nemesis Divina. It became one of those records that made a big impact on the black metal scene. So it's not really in the nature of the band SATYRICON to do anniversaries and celebrations. We're not a band like that. We look forward. But for this record, with the type of impact that it made on the scene, how it influenced other bands, the sound of black metal, and our career. So we, because of all of that, we did a big thing with remastering, refurbishing the artwork, everything, and released a bunch of various limited editions of the record. More so than the record having a normal edition. It was just many different limited editions and a festival run playing the record in its entirety plus a small encore. But going into this, we knew that to play a 20-year-old black metal record in front of festival audiences, where you play in front of sometimes 5,000, but other times 35,000 people, it's going to be difficult because it's a fast, relentless, aggressive record, and that's not necessarily the type of music that transcends well on a festival stage.
Yeah.
But those are the premises, that's we know that, and playing that type of music on a festival stage is not necessarily what gives you the most sort of cheerful type of response, but there are different kinds of appreciating music, and I think there's a lot of people that listen and absorb perhaps on a more spiritual level.
Yes.
Black metal is different than other extreme metal genres in the way. It's not so much about the slamming around like death metal. It has perhaps a more spiritual touch to it. So I'm thinking that for what we've been doing this summer means a lot to a lot of people that got into this type of music through listening to records like Nemesis Divina.
Yeah, cool. And you say you've been around Europe with it and that. How does Bloodstock in England in general compare to other European festivals and that? And is there a major difference between UK audiences maybe and the overseas crowd?
Well, yeah, there is, but they're different too. You come to a place like the Czech Republic, you see that black metal culture in Eastern Europe is very, very strong, very strong. Perhaps it's more of a niche in the UK.
Yeah.
And I guess we sense that in a way. But Also, UK has a really developed understanding of credible underground music. So I don't know. As you know, as a part of SATYRICON, I felt that what we've done has always been, well appreciated in the UK. We play niche music, but our last studio album was Album of the Month in Q magazine. The record before that was, cover of Kerrang magazine. Yeah, as a black metal band, you don't really expect those things, but that can happen in the UK. Because the UK is also perceptive to, as I said, things that might not necessarily be big but influential. I think what we do is influential.
Yeah. So it's the 20th anniversary of the album. You must have seen a lot of changes in the industry, and you say about the number of releases. What's the biggest changes that you would think?
Well, it's been 23 years since we released our first album, and we were really young. I was 17 when the first record came out, and it's an entirely different industry, obviously, but the best way to approach it for those who are a part of it is to just look at opportunities. I think that's the most important thing. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You cannot deny the maelstrom that is the digital revolution.
Yeah.
So what would be nice perhaps is if we've managed to find ways that would put more money back into production of albums.
Yeah.
I'm not so I don't like the fact that more and more albums are being recorded like in people's living room. There is very little money in the industry, and there doesn't have to be money like so that people can buy sports cars, but there should be money in the industry in the way that people could invest in making great production, good sound. I think what a lot of people don't realize today is so let's say in Norway, where we come from, if I wanted to sit down and look at high-end studios where I could make a great production in a fantastic room with incredible acoustics, I don't have to look very far because there is none. They don't exist anymore. There is no market for that. People just have their computers and the software, and it is what it is. But maybe in the future we'll find ways so that maybe more of the revenue could go directly to the artist, so that the artist can decide for himself what how they want to dispose of that. But I don't know. But I think streaming is good, but I'd like to see less of the revenue from streaming going to the record companies and more directly to the artists. That would be nice.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned there about bands taking opportunities in that, and that is Bloodstock here. As you may know, has got lots of. It has a New Blood stage, and it has a Jägermeister stage that's all for smaller bands, and they are known for progressing bands up through the stages. So it's not where they just have a beginner's stage and they just stay there. So we had some bands this year that played on the main stage this year, when 2 years ago they were in the Sophie tent. 2 years before that they were on the New Blood stage, having won a little thing. So they keep tabs on them. So there's been a lot in the press recently about the future headliners and where are the future headliners coming from, and we at Bloodstock like to think they're coming from our New Blood stage, So
could be.
Where do you stand on that as someone that's been an artist for this long in the industry, that you say that the money's not coming from the record companies that necessarily that much anymore? So where are the new Iron Maidens and the Slayers and the big headliners coming from?
last year we went on a European tour, and one out of the 2 support acts that were with us was a Norwegian band called Faenskap, and this band Faenskap had not even released a record, still haven't released a record. The reason why we let them be part of the bill was because even if they play metalcore, which is very far from what we do, even though we, quite honestly, we're not into the type of music they play. We're into their mentality. They're young, they're determined, they rehearse a lot, they take their, playing their instrument very seriously, and very committed. So now, I think to myself, if this is what the kids want, sure, let them have it. It's not for me, but what I can get behind is the commitment.
Yeah.
The willingness to work hard, and the type of attitude where you say that no, unfortunately I'm not able to join you for that tonight because I have to go to rehearsal.
Yeah.
I like to try and give something back to people who are half my age, who'd rather practice for another hour playing the guitar than going to the pub.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. I mentioned the upcoming bands that we have here. We have a thing called Metal to the Masses, which is a local sort of areas. Each one has sort of a competition, the bands, and then each region is chosen, and they do actually have a Norwegian branch. So the last couple of years we've had a Norway band. We went into Poland this year, and I believe that Simon Hall is looking at going further into Europe. So I'll just give a bit of a shout out. We had Sublime Eyes that came over here from Norway and played on the Sophie stage, having played here a couple of years ago.
Excellent.
And we had a band called Art of Deception who won the Metal to the Masses in Norway. So yeah, your countrymates were represented here on all stages
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I guess it became a little bit easier for Norway when, also the music industry became a little bit more democratic. The powers weighted so much towards the UK, Germany, and the US, but now that everything is so accessible, it's not like that. It just, almost like regardless of where you're from, you can make it today. Yeah. It was different before, People are like, go to California, like, you don't have to go to California. The world is right in front of you, especially with streaming and all of that.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks very much for that.
Thank you.
A really, really good, nice chat, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
Cheers.